Serafina and I were at a entrepreneurial book club where Stephanie never read the right book, and
Stephanie was terrible at this book club.
I really sucked at book club.
I did
Fabulous. What?
I just had a visual. I just had a
It was a
visual.
lot.
I had a visual.
Proud of it.
Hold on, let me turn it down.
To you.
3,
No.
2, 1. We're here. We're here.
Good morning,
Hi.
boys and girls. How are you?
Camera's over here, Tracy, just in case. I'm like, we're all over the place this
We're
morning
right
because I
there.
just get so excited about having guests in the studio. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much for having me this morning. I'm
Yeah.
excited to be here.
We have a big vote coming up, Hank.
Yes, we do.
Is this your first time voting in Mashpee or is it second time?
No, this will be the second time.
Okay.
Because we'll be here 3 years. So this will be our second time, I guess.
Look at you. Welcome. So we've got Tracy Kelly. She's running for select board. We don't love the name of the select board.
No, we don't. I mean, it really, we were just talking about that as we started. I asked if she could
Some
come up
people
with a better name
associate
than
board with
select board,
not
or I don't.
exciting.
I understand why we can't have select men because, well,
Rude.
that's the way things are these days, but there's got to be something better than the select board. Town mothers and fathers. I don't know.
Tracy, you are running, and it's so nice to see young people caring about democracy in our town.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this opportunity. I don't consider myself a politician,
Yeah.
but I consider myself someone who's, born and raised here and going to a lot of meetings. I did notice that there's not a lot of diversity, in the audience.
Yeah.
Sometimes even on the select board. And, I thought, I could really make a meaningful contribution to the town, just as a person that's experienced a lot of, I think, common situations like the housing crisis, really wanting to stay in Mashpee, and oftentimes some folks who are born and raised here and can just see the difference in Mashpee throughout the years. So
Was your family like, you should do this, get out there? Because you've never done this before.
never ever.
Right.
No.
And you're not the person that is like, yeah, I'll be in front of the stage. Give me the microphone. Let me get out there.
That's been the hardest part
Yeah.
of the campaign.
Yeah.
Is talking about myself. I'm used to advocating about, issues and not from my own necessarily, perspective. So it's been talking about my background, talking about my education, because usually I'll do like a little eye roll and say, oh, I went to MIT. And it's like, oh, okay.
We have a
name drop.
learned person here today. She went to MIT. I was waiting for it. I was like, I'm not going to throw it out there, but I'm definitely going to drag it out of her.
So if I don't throw it out there, like the committee's like, well, you didn't even mention, and
Yeah, like,
so,
who are you to be here? Do you feel like that a little bit sometimes? Or do you
no.
feel like, I got to say, we had a forum with the League of Women Voters, which is why I made the signs. So I wanted credit for the one thing that I did do for the forum.
Classy. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we had this forum and I was like, I don't know if anybody up there felt comfortable, but I got to tell you, every single person running that showed up, kind, respectful, thoughtful. It was a good dialogue. It was really nice to see.
Agreed. Yeah. I was very nervous kind of going into it just because of the format. And I think, if you're not a little nervous, how much do you really,
Yeah, right. That
care,
you shouldn't
right?
probably be there.
So I got a chance to know the other candidates better also, which was great.
Yeah.
Regardless of the outcome on Saturday, I'm engaged, I'm excited, and, potentially we'll need to work in different ways with these folks. So it was a great opportunity to connect.
Talk a little bit about your career, because we were just like having a 96.3 The Rose moment together. I was like, wait a minute.
Such a fan.
Oh,
Those were the days,
Yeah.
my friend.
right?
Well, I was sharing with Stephanie that my first paid internship was for Charles River Broadcasting back in
Amazing.
the day. Yeah, so I was really excited about journalism and radio back in the day. And so I went to UMass for journalism, and I also studied English as well. But my career kept calling. Every time I tried to deviate from this exciting plan or idea to, be a DJ, to travel, to do some investigative journalism, I kept getting these opportunities to engage with community.
Yeah.
And so I feel, when you get those things in your life, that really anchors you to your purpose. So that has happened each and every time. I was like, maybe I could do corporate, or
Yeah.
maybe, you know, the nonprofit sector was like,
Yeah.
you belong with community and doing wellness work. So I have worked with volunteer and as an employee for the Wampanoag Language Reclamation Project for a very long time.
Very cool.
Yeah. So actually in college, I would do some of our first like coloring books.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like illustrate them. We had to, you know, build up our own library.
Yeah.
And I was so far away because I went to UMass Amherst.
Yep.
So I did things, you know, to contribute and volunteer when I couldn't actually be here taking classes, language classes, that is. So,
And your mom was the one who started this whole
she's
thing.
the co-founder. It's just been such a beautiful journey.
Yeah.
It's an intertribal nonprofit, which I think really it speaks to just the value that people have in their birthright to language, you know?
I really feel like
Yeah.
you should expand upon that. I got sucked in the other day and I don't even know why, but I was watching a podcast with your mom and it was like from WCAI
Mhm.
just talking about the reclamation project and how it, you know, it was born from this 3-day vision that she had
Yeah.
about bringing the language back to
Cool.
life. And I
Yeah.
thought that, like, how cool is that? You just like was awokened by this and were called to it and you did it. Like
Yeah.
there's a building, it's functioning, you're working.
And that energy just spread. And
Yeah.
it was like an aha moment when you stop and look around at these words that you know they're not English.
Yeah.
You know, like Sipawicit or Mashpee or Massachusetts, right? And so it was just an awakening of some sorts. I have a funny story.
Yeah.
So
Please share.
I found out we had a language when I was about 8.
Yep.
So I wasn't a native speaker. And we started off by having these cultural youth nights. So we would just go, we would learn, you know, songs, dances, eat food, of course, and just have fun. And then half of us would like run around. We had these like mounds of quahog shells at the old tribal building. And
So
so
cool.
we would just like kind of, you know, raise hell out there.
Yeah.
You know, and have a grand old time. So it came time to get my name. I was like, oh my gosh, I have a name and it's not going to be in English. So I was all excited. So I get my name. Excitement gone.
Spoken like a true child.
Excitement gone. It was Wanash, which means like happy or good, you know, girl or woman.
Yep.
And I was such a tomboy.
Yep.
I mean, I had the baggy clothes. It's the 90s.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
I had
yeah.
the grunge.
We
I
had a
loved
look.
Nirvana.
Yep.
And you know what I mean? So I had like the plaid vest and so, you know, and I was like,
Hysterical.
what? A happy girl? What, you know, what is this?
Lame.
Good. So I wanted like, you know, fierce bear. Or
Yeah,
something, you know,
right?
I don't know. Something that says I'm tough.
Fun. Yeah. Right.
You know, and as I got older though, I realized, you know, that's actually really awesome.
Yeah.
You know, but it was one of those things I had to grow into.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been quite a journey since the 90s. And I've took all the classes. I was an apprentice for quite a few years in my 20s.
Very cool.
Very cool. So, you know, you can't speak English.
Yeah,
like
right?
20 hours out of my work week.
I would lose my mind, I
Wow.
think, a little bit.
I cried.
Yeah.
My first month. There's something to someone speaking your language, right?
Yep.
It's the saying. And when you can't quite produce the speech fast enough, there's something that feels a little, you know, infantile, or, you know, I have a basic need. I can't communicate it to you. But that's what really drives the learning and pushes you forward. So it was a beautiful experience. There was 3 apprentices and I took all those classes like my whole life, did immersion camps, 18 months of being an apprentice in an immersion environment. I was an advanced speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
great.
So it's powerful. Just if you ever want to learn a language,
You have to
go
do
to the
that.
place
Yeah.
and plop yourself there.
Yeah.
You will learn out of necessity.
I feel like that's the only way to do so. We've got so many people checking in with us this morning. Good morning, Chris, Tom, Dave, Carolyn. Thank you so much. Tim, Murari, Eva, Ashley. She's got a Karen Reed update we're going to have to check in with.
Oh, okay.
Emily, hello and good morning. Cindy says, good morning. I want to come on the show and talk about my crippleness and people. Oh, wait, I have seen her name. Yeah, well, you should. You live in Mashpee and you should be voting this Saturday. This is the conversation that we're having. And we need to have younger people. We need to have people immersing themselves. I really have this time more than ever put myself into our town and finding out what is going on. And it's because I intimately know the people that are running I'm curious to see what the differences we can bring. Carol did a great job. I mean, all the people retiring did amazing things for this town. But here we are in 2025 and things are changing. Things are more expensive. Things need to grow and evolve. And I feel like we need somebody with a younger voice to do that. And I'm excited for the people that are running.
Well, too many people sit back, they don't get involved, they don't do anything. And then all of a sudden something happens and it's like, oh my God, how did I miss this? I'm going to go on social media and complain. Like Steph said, and what you're doing, which is really great, you're not going on social media complaining about it or saying, why don't they? You're out there doing something. And as someone who did it for a long time, there has to be more people.
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes there is this thing with leadership that people oftentimes they will pursue things or get excited about things that they can see themselves in.
Yeah.
And I think, for a long time, folks maybe not have seen themselves, on select board. Maybe they're not, the age that's typically on there, or they don't, they're not kind of connected in that type of way.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, if anything, that this, inspires other folks to get involved. But some of that is also just about how, like you were saying, times do change, right? And we adapt, we evolve, we grow, we look for a brighter future. And I think keeping up with the times, ways to engage aren't necessarily the same as they were 20 years ago, right? So there are kind of tools out there to re-engage folks that I think do have a lot to say. They do have a lot to contribute. I know, like millennial, Gen X, Gen Z, they have these experiences in Mashpee and they have thoughts and feelings about them. It's just, how do we connect and get those to a town level and just re-engage? So I'm excited about like some listening sessions and maybe some hot takes. If it, like going through, if you're, trying to get actively involved, it's, some of the, town warrants are lengthy, or maybe they're in a, written in a way that doesn't really resonate with you. And I think there are ways that we can definitely meet people where they're at.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I know the
that.
attention span of everyone is very short.
Yeah. Well, you get such instant gratification, right? On social media,
Yeah.
you get the hot takes.
Guilty.
I mean, particularly at town meeting, when you go through the budget or something, my Lord, I was chairman of the finance committee for 2 years in Sandwich. Oh, you sit there at town meeting and to have to go through the budget and it was dreadful. Yeah. And I was doing it and I'm sitting there sitting on the stage and I'm saying to myself, oh my God, this is horrible. I'd be asleep in the seats.
Well, can you imagine also you're voting on something and maybe you didn't read the packet, ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of people don't read the packet.
Right. So you get there and you're voting on things, you're voting on the future movement of the town. And some of these things are really, large ventures or expensive ones. So I do think there's definitely room for growth in that area of like connecting and just getting.
Did everybody read their little blue book? It's not little. I'm just curious, but there are plans in there for the upcoming. I think water is the big conversation right now, right? This is what we're all talking about. This is what is happening on 151, where I cry every single day when I see all these trees gone, and I'm like, oh my God! I know we need to do it, but
right. The people who live along 151 where I live, where they weren't able to see 151 because of all the trees.
Yeah,
I don't want to be the management at Southport. Because
the villages,
the villages, because I can guarantee you there are a lot of upset village residents who all the trees are gone.
Yeah. Oh, Cindy, 151 is wrecked. I know.
So that happens more and more over the decades. So when I was younger, I've had to see, I won't mention the places, but some of my favorite blueberry spots.
Yeah.
Even.
I love it.
I love berry picking.
Spoken like a native Cape Codder. Not telling you where our secrets are, but we know where they are.
I'm not going to mention the fishing spots. I'm not going to mention where the berries are. But some of those spots just don't exist anymore. They were clear cut, you know, and some of those places where I'd like to walk and, have my quiet time. I loved bike riding. You might have seen me if you lived around here, like riding my bike.
That's what Cindy was like, but that bike path though, we're excited for that.
Yes. The bike path is everything, but some of the trails and kind of like intimate, quiet places where you just do a reflection, the noise level or the clear cutting, it's sad to see. And I think what really resonated with me about the environment in particular is the fact that I'm a mom.
Yeah.
And you just always want to give your kids the very best, right? What quality of life can I give them? And I couldn't do that last summer. We went to do the day at the pond, pack it up, let's get the cooler, let's roll. The pond was closed for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I did not grow up experiencing that.
Yeah.
And so I really just have a vested just personal stake. It's just very deep for me, just for my generational roots, but also, raising a child here, you want the very best.
Right. And because of what's happening with the pond, that's why all this other work is necessary now.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And, I would have loved that if it happened, 10 years ago before
It got
COVID
bad.
prices, before it got worse, because now it's like a hefty price tag. But it's one of those things where you got to do it.
Yeah.
You can't say we value the beautiful Mashpee landscape here and the waters, like the things that actually, draw people here, but not put investments into it to make sure that it's sustainable and that people can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And local communities are very good at kicking big problems down the road, and finding little reasons why, we can't do it because, we need to study it because. When I was in office in Attleboro and in Sandwich, one of the big issues was affordable housing, and
it's still a big issue.
Well, the point is, the answer is every time, we got to study it. We've got to look at it. And now we're at the point where the answer to affordable housing isn't, small homes in some kind of small development. It's these apartments that people are saying, oh my God, this isn't the Cape. Well, no, it probably isn't the Cape, but this is where the Cape kicked itself to,
Yeah, that's been a struggle. I mean, I've got bad luck whenever I get a degree. Something goes. That's why I'm not getting a PhD.
You're like, I'm done.
That's why I'm not getting a PhD. So 2008,
like some sort of
was
omen.
the recession. Yeah, it was like the recession, 2008. It's like, okay, you can't go off to college, right, and then just live that American dream. Or so you have to get your degree, and then you get your career, you get your house, and you gotta like settle in. It's like the millennials have had quite the time on this journey, and then masters, I had like 2 months left 2 months left of my program, and COVID hit, and there the market went. I mean, it went nuts. So that was my plan.
We've seen a lot of shifting for sure, being from Gen X. I feel like we're so hypercritical, like suck it up, buttercup is how our mentality has always been, like just deal with it.
Yeah.
We'll just deal with it.
Yeah. So dealing with it, and I'm a dealer with her.
Right.
So I lived across town lines for like 3 years, but Mashpee's home.
Yeah.
My whole family's here. Like my idea of hanging out by the water is in Mashpee. My son went to Mashpee schools, so he, thank goodness he got like a school choice slot. So we were back and forth.
Yeah, well, Hank is dealing with that now with his granddaughter, and she's school of choice in Sandwich.
Yep.
Because it's just that's where she grew up, and she's more comfortable there, and so they're dealing with that. Which thankfully we can do that. It makes sense. Our oldest went to Falmouth because it just made sense for her. She wanted to be with her friends and her people. And my kids are all fully Mashpee. I can't see them anywhere else. I mean, it's just where we are. We're my family's rooted. Yeah, exactly. It's where our roots are.
And when you need that support net, and that connection, you go to where your people are.
Yeah.
So I lived across town lunch for like 3 years, and I think that there could be a lot more done, even just like redevelopment. A lot of people have switched, like they're hybrid, they're remote. Like what can we do with some of these existing structures to maybe accommodate, and can they be, sewered in? Can we make sure that whatever redevelopment things that we're doing also support this challenge of, clean waters and a healthy environment, and still keep the look?
Well,
I
that's
don't
so
wanna- I don't
hard.
wanna
That
live in a city,
preservation
you know?
piece is key, but also it's just really hard to accommodate everything. I think
Yeah.
that that's the struggle right now. We
Yeah.
want everything.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and that just doesn't work. What's up, John Cotton? Currently one of our select board members. Thank you very much for the work that you do. You do not get paid. You barely get paid, right, for this job.
Yeah.
Okay. It is.
I didn't actually know at first. No, true story. I didn't actually know at first that there was even a stipend.
Like I get money.
Yeah,
Oh.
I didn't even. I was like, oh, okay,
Okay.
oh,
Yeah.
great.
But I feel like you're used to that being from academia. I feel like there's always you've accepted the life of poverty because I'm a learned person.
Yeah, I did a lecture actually for MIT probably like 6 months back, and it's just assumed,
Yeah.
I got a full ride to go.
Yeah.
So you give back. Yeah. So I there was no pay for that either, but it's passion work. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of times when I'm doing speaking engagement, it doesn't feel like work. It's things that are like rooted to
being
me.
on the select board is that delicate balance, right? I'm learning that delicate balance of running a nonprofit, but also where I'm a business owner. I'm the executive director of the Mashpee Chamber. I have to ask for money. I have to do things. It's a really difficult balance of business and then the business of people.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling you're going to do this? Because you really haven't done the business portion. You've done the business of people.
Yeah. Well, I've had to do a lot of business as well,
Yep.
actually. So in my career, I've right now I'm an interim executive director for the Wampanoag Language Reclamation Project. And for the past 2-3 years at Health Resources in Action, I directed, multiple initiatives, and some of those budgets are, multi-million-dollar procurements.
Yep.
So oversight of those, managing funds,
Stressful.
identifying gaps, and also leading teams, right? Because the business needs to go on day-to-day operations. And you really can't move any work forward without a solid, cohesive team at the end of the day. So it is a lot about relationships, but I think my professional skills certainly lend themselves to a select board. I think I have a lot of skills to offer and to bring, but also a lot to learn.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about a learning process. I'm assuming a lot of that is listening,
Yeah.
from others and learning from others. And the great thing about being on a board or part of a group is you don't have to be a subject matter expert
Right.
on all the things.
Yep.
That's why we have collaborative approaches to things, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the opportunity to show what I can bring.
That's amazing. Carol's on here, and Carol says, and you get back so much more.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, she has not missed a town meeting, a ribbon cutting, an opening. How do you plan on balancing all of that with being a mom? Because I know Mother's Day is coming up, but I mean, family's always first, right? And you've got to make these choices.
Yeah.
And now you're adding another thing to your table. How do you plan on doing this? And managing your stress level. I think it's really important to talk about how you are going to find you in there.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. So because I was returning back to a full-time role at executive level, right here in Mashpee at a local nonprofit, I shifted my portfolio. So I went way down on my projects at Health Resources in Action to really make a commitment and reroute myself locally. So I don't feel, my work balance would be a challenge. I think it would, if anything, really enhance any projects that I do take on.
Yeah.
I think the parenting piece is, that's essential, but that's where your support system comes in.
Yeah.
All right, Nini's gonna have to do some, pickups from soccer today.
Yeah.
Right. And just making that commitment, at the end of the day, I want to support this town, support what local residents are needing and asking for. And also my son is part of this town too, right? So the delicate balance, it's tough.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are just juggling multiple things, and then there's lulls too, right? So it's like soccer and baseball. It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
For 8 weeks, right? So which just so happened to be during campaigning.
Right. Well, yeah, that's it.
Right.
And you're having this conversation with the kids, guess what mom's gonna be doing? What do you think?
Right.
He was like, yeah,
Cliche is
all right, I support you.
The
He's
cliche,
12,
the
so-
cliche-ish advice I have for you is family first,
Mm-hmm.
because no meeting is as important as something you needed to do with your family.
Absolutely.
Because you'll forget what that meeting was about, but you'll remember that you didn't go to or you didn't see.
Yeah. So I strongly believe in investment in my son. He's just been my pride and joy and my learning,
Mhm.
right? When you become a parent, it's like, okay, this is what flexibility is.
Right.
This is how you adapt in real time in your face.
For sure.
But firmly invested in that. And also, it does, to use the cliche, but it does take a village, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the essence of family. And so I show up and support, for my nieces and nephews, for my siblings, when they're in need, and
Yep.
they help me out too. And like, I'm going to tell you what, the soccer and baseball mom crowd, huge fan.
Yeah,
Like
they're amazing.
They're amazing.
Yep.
They're solid. They get it. But certainly my heart and investment is 100% into my son. And I can walk and chew gum at the same time.
You're right.
It is possible. I promise.
I just fell
promise.
into this wonderful group of the new tennis. I'm part of the new tennis family at Mashpee High School. I didn't ever think my son would pick up a brand new sport as a sophomore in high school, but he did this year.
Wow.
And like is excelling, doing really well. But that community, the best, most respectful group text I've ever been in my entire life. Nobody likes it and checks it. They all understand that this is an information space where I'm in 47 group chats from hell that people will just like boop, 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 boop all day long. I'm like 47 missed notifications. What? And they're all nothing. They say nothing. This tennis family, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Respectful, informative, and nobody bothers you.
Time, date, location.
Love it. Thank you for the photos. Thank you for bringing the snacks. Thank you for including me. I appreciate it. We've all been there.
Yeah. And so I just really appreciate my support net.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
what do you say to people that say you have no experience here? You've not done this before. I like, what do you say to that?
Well, someone who's always running for the first time for something. So, even everyone on the select board had to run an initial time.
There you go. Right.
So I feel I have every right to be here and to be running. I have lived experience, which is really unique. I think just someone who's gone through the school system, who has a child in the school system, someone who's born and raised here, has a lot to contribute, who also happens to have a lot of professional experience in education.
Yeah.
So I feel I have every right to be running. And everyone's got to run the first time.
Yeah.
For the first time.
No, 100%.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that conversation because, everybody's critical, right? When you put your foot, how are you dealing with that? Have you had anybody crazy come at you with something that you've not been able to handle yet?
No.
Good.
No, I think that there's a lot of opportunities for people to get to know me better.
Yep.
I don't think there's been anything that I would consider. Well, I don't consider many things crazy. I mean, some people are really passionate about things that maybe
I like that. That's a good shift.
Yep.
Maybe they're passionate about things that just aren't in your lane or in your lived experience, right? So it's just kind of like meeting people where they're at. I had some really outlying questions. Like there was this really great question that came up. Someone asked me a few days ago, why isn't there like a recycling program like in Falmouth? I used to live in Falmouth. I purchased in Mashpee a couple of years ago, and I was like, what? I don't know the history on that.
Right.
I think that's a great question.
Yeah.
And then they mentioned kind of like pickup system, especially for folks who like maybe aren't able or don't drive to like, bring their items to the transfer station. So I do get kind of like outlier, like, what are your thoughts on this?
Yep.
When I was door knocking, I also got a question about, veteran benefits, and I didn't have all the answers, but what I did have is an open mind and just a connection experience. My brother, I know that his VA benefits like have really supported his sustainability after his service, right?
Yep.
So there's like places where can we connect and kind of meet in the middle, but not promising everyone everything. You can't promise everyone all the things. I'm not going to be a subject matter expert on all the things, but I can listen, and I can have a conversation, and I can gather information.
You said that the other day, and I really liked it. I was at a particular town meeting where something was uttered that all of a sudden became a social media rage.
Every time I crack up every time.
taxing on the bridges. And I was
Oh,
there.
my Lord.
I was listening to it and I didn't think anything of it. And 5 seconds later, it becomes this social media meme. It's like on the news. And I was like, there wasn't gasps at town meet at this particular select board meeting.
And
There
it wasn't
wasn't.
the first time somebody has
there.
ever suggested that.
No.
People have been talking about it for years.
Yeah, it's not a novel
And it was
idea.
it was just a conversation. Like, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then all of a sudden it was like, how dare you?
Right.
It was wild to me,
Oh, yeah.
but I watched it happen in real time. And so you handled it beautifully. Like you're just like,
Well,
somebody had an idea. We had a dialogue. It wasn't like this is going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
What
And
are your thoughts?
yeah, and I think that's really important is to it's challenging to be innovative or forward thinking if that's not really the space that you're in. I mean,
Yeah.
crunch some numbers. Hey, if the numbers support it, if it can support some of these things that are typically, a burden on taxpayers, why not explore that? Or explore other things. I travel a lot. I love going to the Caribbean.
The wheels of change don't happen fast anyway. It's not like it's going to happen tomorrow.
No. But I travel a lot. I love
Yep.
to go to the Caribbean at least once a year. It's just my happy place. I love the water. Anytime I can get in the water, I want to be there. And oftentimes, at resorts, they have this like fee as part of your stay. That is like, we're doing sustainable water and environment. And listen, I'm not turning down an all-inclusive 8-day stay in Jamaica because of a $5 water fee.
Right.
I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I'm still going and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy the water that they have.
Yeah, Hank, you and I were talking about this last week with Hawaii is now
Yes.
they've got an 11% tax that they're adding on to everything to care for the environment.
Yep.
It's just what's happening. Obviously, if you can afford to go to Hawaii, you can afford to pay that 11%. It's already
absolutely.
expensive and ridiculous as it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you're not going to cancel your dream vacation or your annual vacation to
Yeah.
the Cape if you got to pay
It's got to be
a
built
couple
in there
bucks
somewhere.
on a toll or wherever.
Yeah.
I
or
know.
some
And
sort
not
of
that I'm
water tax.
advocating for more taxes or whatever, but if it's a fee and you know what it's for, I think that's the thing. I think that it's got to be upfront. Like we're having the conversation. It's not going to be sneaky all of this money in here because we just want the money.
Right.
It's that we need this amount of dollars for this amount of project. And this is it. I think that's people want more transparency.
Yeah.
I think that really is what it is because we feel like we're always, everybody's an internet sleuth now. We feel like we've been lied to so many times.
Bamboozled.
We've been hoodwinked,
Oh, yeah.
bamboozled, and lied to.
Yeah, where's the money really going to go?
But now this is why we've created our own paranoia where we don't even know it's real anymore and it's facts. Like that's why everyone is the way we are now. We're trigger happy.
Right.
We're afraid of things. It's just a conversation. We've got Tracy here, Tracy Kelly. She's running for select board of Mashpee. We're just having a fun little dialogue about why she wanted to run. What do you feel like? Oh God, my family put me up to this and now I'm doing this. Or did you just decide one day you woke up and you're like, I'm going to run. I'm going to do this.
I got asked by a few people.
You know it. It's always your family member. Like you could do that. This is how every bad idea in my life usually starts as my husband goes, you should do that.
Oh.
You could do that.
Oh.
And then I'm like, I could do that. I'll do
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
And then here I am.
You know, you could
The
be
new-
executive director of the Chamber of
Here
Commerce.
I am. This is
Yeah.
what I'm doing. I ran my first golf tournament yesterday. I was so I don't know why I was so nervous about it, but we had 83 golfers. It was the perfect day. You know, you worry about the weather when you make all of these plans.
Yep.
And I was like, I know it's only small. I know it's only a golf tournament. I know Willow Bend did most of the work, but it was also the stress of planning this and taking over. Mary Lou Palumbo started the chamber 40 years. It's our anniversary in September. And I was, handed this thing.
Right.
And now I'm like, this is not my money. These are not my people. I'm trying to be careful and mindful about every action and the outcome that comes along with it. Being on the board, I had a lot to say. But now when I'm in the office, now I'm like, oh God, this is.
Oh my God, I wish I just shut up.
I have to make these difficult decisions now. And I know it's only granular and it's so much smaller than running a town. It's a little bit different. But I had this moment yesterday where I had to do something that I was very uncomfortable with in a space that I don't know anything about. I purposefully, my ex-husband's a golf pro, so I purposefully didn't do any golf because I'm like, woof, I don't want to do this. But I put myself through this. It was a really nice day. Everybody had a great time. We raised a ton of money for Mashpee High seniors, and here we are, scholarship night coming up May 8th. And I get to see the 2 Mashpee High seniors that have been working in the chamber office for the last 4 or 5 months go and get their scholarships and see their work. I mean, these kids have done a tremendous amount of work. I said to them, create an ornament. And they were like, yep, sure, we'll get it done. And they did. They sourced it. They made it. Now it's like an actual product that I showed off at the golf tournament yesterday. I'm like, support these kids. We did these things. and 2 students that are going to school for marketing. So it's just shout out to Rachel and Noah. You guys are absolutely amazing. I'm just so proud of the work that you've done. And they're off to go be cool people. And I said, I really want you guys to come back to Mashpee. Yes, go get your education. But I want you to come back to Mashpee. And like, this is the stuff that we're trying to do, is make sure that there's a nice enough Mashpee that you can, in fact, afford to live here and be here for when you return.
That was instilled in me.
Right.
It was, and that's a little bit of my touch and go story. It's like, you go, you get your skill set, you see the world, you add to your experiences, but you come back home. Like that was an understanding. Like, my mom was very intentional about that. And I always love Mashpee. Anytime you're like, icebreakers at work, or, I worked remote for a few years, like in sweats.
Yeah.
And they would ask, like, if you could live anywhere in the world and just work remote from there, where would it be? I'm like, I don't want to live anywhere else. I love it here.
Yeah.
I'll take a vacation all day. Sure.
Yeah.
But I love it here. And it's really important that you go get these skills, but it is a challenge.
Yeah.
And what has really brought me back, I mean, a lot of it was my roots. But it is a challenge. How are we going to say we want folks to go do that, and we want young people to have, like, startup lives here, or startup families here, and the working class, without the opportunity for affordability? Like, I know teachers and people in public safety who can't afford to live in Mashpee.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's a travesty, right? We want
Yeah.
to be supportive of folks that work right here in town, and they're investing in these huge ways, like the education of our young people.
Yeah. Yes.
We need to make sure that they can live and sustain themselves.
The statistic is 60% of the people who work on Cape live off Cape.
That's wild.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Right?
Yeah.
That's scary to have a conversation about. Good morning, Kareen. And thank you. Yes, it was an awesome golf tournament. Ashley has got her Karen Reed update. Oh, here we go.
All right,
let's
go.
check into it. This is long. After a widely disputed 2:27 a.m. Google search, now debunked, was addressed, the whole Jennifer McCabe situation. A friend of both Karen and John completed her second round of testimony. She was questioned and detailed about the event of the night. In the morning, John was found. Hannah Knowles, a forensic scientist of the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, testified that Karen Reed's blood alcohol concentration at 9 a.m. was 0.78 and 0.92. Forensic analysis suggests that her BAC at 12:45 could have ranged between 0.14 and 0.28, up to 3 times the legal limit. Yesterday, Lieutenant Gallagher described the scene as unique because of the weather and explained that he was a leaf blower to help preserve evidence before it could be obscured by the falling snow. Blood found in the snow collected using solo cups due to the urgency of the situation, and ongoing snowfall threatened to bury the critical evidence. That was also a situation that I laughed at when I watched the rewind of Karen Reed, because I've not been one of those crazies following this, but we know so many people that have been. And whenever I saw the evidence that was collected in red Solo cups in a grocery store brown paper bag, I was like, yikes.
Yeah.
This is going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's not exactly preserving the evidence.
So this presses on. There's also another situation going on, the trial for Diddy, the situation.
Oh, my Lord.
Did you see that people are getting paid $25 to $30 an hour to stand in line because people want to be in this trial?
No.
What? Why are people so obsessed with crime at this point?
And did you notice, and I wish I could remember the names in during the jury selection, they were just tossing out these names of celebrities.
Oh, for the Diddy thing?
Yes.
Ugh, no. Why?
Just in terms of interviewing the jurors and everything.
Yeah.
And have you heard of celebrity A or celebrity B? And they're just tossing these names out, and there's so far no connection between this guy was actually with Diddy doing stuff. They're just throwing these names out.
Do you think that they're like you've got a journalism background? What is the thought of this? Is it to drum up more salaciousness to get more viewers? Do you think this is all just a ploy to sell more papers? Do you feel like people are, or just we're obsessed with crime?
I think it's both. I mean, the crime dramas or documentaries,
Right? It's like
on
real life
Netflix.
TV shows.
Yeah, it's its own genre. There's a lot of interest there. I don't partake.
No.
I don't know. I don't want to see they're true life stories.
Yeah.
And that's kind of grim for me.
Yeah, right?
I like things a little lighter. Like one of my favorite movies is, Young Frankenstein.
Happy Girl. See, this is
Happy Girl. Yeah, absolutely. You got that right.
We come back. This is full circle. So we cannot be sucked down into this. Hank, you've got a little local crazy crime
yes,
of our
I do.
own.
Yes, I do.
Sandwich Police Blotter is always a fun place to be on social media, just because. I mean, the crimes in the town of Sandwich are like, we called the police on you because I heard loud noises in my backyard.
Right. A caller reported seeing an Amazon package outside a residence. While they were walking by, the box was marked with the words, quote, assault rifle, close quote, which naturally raised some eyebrows. After further investigation, it was determined that the package contained a child's toy. Marketing might want to rethink the packaging on this one.
Seriously.
No further action was required.
Bombs. Who thought about packaging this? Not a great idea.
No. Here's your semi-regular reminder that in order to operate a motor vehicle, the driver needs a valid driver's license. Not your cousin's, not your learner's permit from 2009, and definitely not just
what do you mean?
Intentions. The vehicle also needs to be registered and insured. We know, wild concept.
Boo.
So before you hit the road like it's Mad Max out there, make sure your paperwork is in order. It's the law, not a suggestion.
I know. I mean, we do live on an island that is man-made island, but this is not the mentality.
Two permits don't equal a license.
That's it. Thank you. Appreciate that. I got the update. Thank you very much, Ashley. We shared it with everybody.
First came the loud music, then the fireworks. Apparently, someone's starting summer early. Insert public service announcement here. Music that is too loud equals a bylaw violation. Fireworks equals illegal.
Oh my God!
They're on a roll in this one. This entry. They got a bunch of crazy stuff.
Well, we love him, and you're always the first one to watch the townie pages. So thank you, Hank.
You're welcome. My pleasure. It's just a
Keeping
little thing
honest.
that I do for you folks. So,
Hi, Marie. I'm so sad that I missed you on Sunday. I was ordered to not speak. I was just getting junky, and after what Hank had dealt with, I can't lose my voice. I can't lose the pipes.
No.
So I got to rest. And so it looked like Chase had a beautiful birthday party, 21 years old. And Marie is a new member of the Mashpee Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much, Marie's Homemade Breads. We are working on our farmers market. We have over 100 applications for people to come into the Commons for our farmers market. It's really incredible to see small businesses and people that are just like, I'll see if I can make this work. I'll see if I can make this concept, this idea be an actual business. And I love supporting small businesses in that frame and watching people's awesome ideas really fly. And to see that many more people taking a chance on themselves and try and grow something that was never there before. Kudos to you. I never thought I would find myself. I've always been a worker bee, military radio lady, supporter of other people's ideas, never my own. So it's been really an interesting shift since pandemic to jump into this space with everyone. So thank you for taking a chance on us and believing in us here at Lemonadio. I appreciate that.
How did the thing go over the weekend? Mashpee Commons, spring market.
Oh, it ended up being really quite busy. I didn't get to see like the height of it all because I had to move on to the dance marathon. Something else that we have done for the last 15 years is we created a fund at Cape Cod Hospital for women where your testing is not covered. We cover it. It's the Women's Early Detection Fund. So it's something that we created. We got sick of sending money over the bridge. And I mean, we agree that money needs to go to research and development and all of those things. But we thought, what can we do to help actual Cape Codders cover their medical bills? And so Jen Rako created the Women's Early Detection Fund, and now it's self-funded, which is incredible. Our little dance marathon only is like a little piece of it. Now other people are putting money into this fund to go and support women when when your tests are not covered, whether it's genetic testing or you need, you're too early for a mammogram. We disagree. I think if your doctor tells you you need it, then go get it.
I would think.
Right. And so we created this fund to be able to afford it. So I also want you to know that it exists and you have access to it. So if you're told or your insurance says we don't cover that, please ask about the Women's Early Detection Fund and utilize those funds. That's exactly what it's there for. So it was just incredible. I cry every single time. There were 200 dancers in there, 7 different dance studios throughout the Cape, and everything from interpretive dance to jazz numbers to boys in ballet. I loved every moment of it. And to watch it, I cry all the time. Every single time I cry.
How does someone access the money in that fund if they
All you have to do is ask for it, and your doctor will be able to access it.
Okay, the doctor knows.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Cape Cod Hospital, and that you can just ask for it. So I think it's so important.
All right, good.
Excellent work.
Yeah, well, it's those little things that you don't think that, you just go to a run or you go to a 5K or you go and support these little things, but to actually see it incrementally change and build into something is like so exciting.
And some of those fees are just unexpected. You think you're going, oh, just get you just need your labs done. And they range in like the hundreds of dollars. I mean, depending on the test, it could be in the thousands. And that's just wonderful that you've been able to support that work.
But those are the things that we're building right here in Mashpee. We're trying to keep all of this, our community, to keep being able to live here and come back for these things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tracy, what are some things that you want people to know about you that you've not really had a chance to connect with people? I mean, we're a week away from a vote.
Things that people might not know about me.
Right, 4 days, really.
4 days, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right. We're 4 days.
Oh my God, I have a lot of work to do.
Stephanie's got the countdown.
Sorry.
Just that I'm born and raised here. I'm a local. I love coffee.
Okay.
But first coffee, that's probably one of my life, mantras. I love to spend time in the water. It could be fishing, it could be swimming, sunbathing, whatever it is, but that's how I love to connect to nature is really through the water. I don't know. I think I have a good sense of humor. I'm typically the person you want to make sure that I come to the cookout. Yeah.
I like that.
And I'm fun auntie.
Yep.
Yeah. Pack the kids up. Let's pack up the SUV and let's roll it to like the beach for the day or something like that.
Yeah.
So I've oftentimes been that type of mom, aunt, family member. So yeah, that's just a little bit about like fun facts, I guess.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, I'm excited for this opportunity. I'm excited to be representative of a more generations on select board and more of that perspective kind of intertwined into policy and town matters. Yeah.
I love it. We're not doing crazy things like in Texas where they just created a new city.
They created a new city.
Yep. Did you see this? SpaceX City. It's called Starbase. This is ridiculous.
What?
Is it by the Gulf of America?
Okay. Why are we changing these things? I mean, your family has been here for the most amount of time, I would say.
Yeah.
Rooted.
Yeah, right. You want to talk about the change a little bit and what you've seen and maybe your roots, maybe something about the tribe. I think it's important to mention.
Yeah. So my family, I'm Mashpee Wampanoag.
Yeah.
And I grew up on Meeting House Road, which was actually my great Grandma White's house and property, and that's the Mashpee River. It actually cuts right through the backyard. So growing up, you could go get heron. Although I was told stories of a time where they were even more populated than they were when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact: the first heron I caught was in Mashpee River on Meeting House Road.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have this thing where you catch it, you clean it.
Yep, I like that.
You don't waste
honor
anything, and you got to do the icky part. You got to do the fun part and the icky part, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my brother we're out on Mashpee River. We pluck the leeches off,
Oh yeah.
Yep, pluck
Good
those
times.
off. Yep, pluck those off of our toes, and then he shows me how to clean a heron. And I'm all excited. We clean the fish, and he's like, now we eat the roe. So he makes the roe, and like, this is the thing.
Real life sushi, guys.
Yeah. And
look at Hank's face.
I was disgusted.
Right.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But I gave it a good try, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a tradition, it's cultural. And it was a good teaching, a good teaching for me to have. But
have you ever eaten it again?
Nope. Never. I will not eat herring roe.
So no, thank you, taste.
But I like herring backs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll eat the actual, herring backs, but there's, fish on there. There's a lot
Yeah.
of bones, but it's pretty tasty. But no roe for me. But
Yeah.
I have that teaching, I have that lesson, and that was something that is really important. Is like you have respect for the environment, and you give back.
Yep.
And I think, using all of the herring, throw them in your garden. Any gardeners out there, if you have, I put that in the garden, and it's just phenomenal. The
Yep.
nutrients, what it does for the soil. So there's this concept that, you use all of the things you can if you're going to like take life in that type of way. And then it grows these other things like vegetables.
Yeah.
And so growing up here, I loved connecting with the land. My people, I learned a lot about language. I was powwow princess.
What is that?
It's
By the way, I'm very excited for this year's powwow. I've not had a chance.
Did you see the artwork?
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous,
right?
I think it's like one of the most memorable flyers that we've had in like recent history, at the very least. It's just absolutely beautiful. Shout out to whoever did that artwork.
I know. I don't know who it is.
So it's a representative of the tribe. So you meet with like a group of elders, and they ask you some questions. It's like an interview, if you will. And then you do a dance in the circle, and you find out if you're princess or not. And it's a notable distinction that's actually grown over the years. It's been amazing to see that. Typical princesses now, like, they'll select like a community service project that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
I think back in the days, it was more like being a representative at different tribes powwows, at different events. You're a representative who, is in good standing and can represent the tribe well.
Yeah.
And so I was, I think, 2002. Sorry if I got that wrong. It was a while ago.
Sorry if you stepped on another princess.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to crush your princess dreams. And during that time, I also was really connected with like youth nights, like cultural nights, things like that. I was in Key Club, Mashpee Middle High School.
Love it.
Loved that. So I had a really, a passion for community service. And being tribal has provided me so much of an understanding through language, through perspective, through what it means to have that intergenerational connection. So there's this deference to tribal elders, and also really supporting tribal youth, right? And there's that connecting point in between, that you have this purpose, that everyone has a purpose.
Yeah.
And it's part of like that ecosystem.
And I love that you share it with the kids too. Cody's favorite is going to Indian education growing up. He loved it.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to Indian Ed. They got good snacks, and I love what they're doing. He did. He loved it.
Natives are always going to have the snacks. You gotta break bread.
But it was amazing. And I love the fact it was jarring to my dad when he went to the kids' graduation, and there was tribal representation, and there was this drum and this music, and it was really very cool. It makes Mashpee very unique. And I love that it's incorporated in it. If you've never been to one of their graduation ceremonies, it's wonderful. If you've never been to a powwow, I suggest you get to one. Please explain to people who don't even know what it is.
Yeah. It's essentially a homecoming, and I guess I would like it to, what some folks might call like a cultural festival, where you can really immerse yourself in the food, the drumming, the singing. There are just an abundance of different styles of dance and culture. And so Mashpee Wampanoag Powwow also hosts indigenous folks from all over,
Mhm.
and even sometimes from other countries. Like growing up, when the Aztec dancers came, I was like,
so cool.
this is so cool. They
Yeah.
have bright colored feathers. We have like turkey and hawk feathers. Like they've got
Well,
these like
this is what we got.
really
This is what we got.
And you know, it's a great way to, you know, learn something new, see new things, and also eat delicious food. There's also just a thriving market area, where I like to stock up on some goods, so you can get, you know, native artisans who you can purchase their, you know, items like earrings, you know, bracelets, or even like textiles like blankets. And
it's such a big part of your culture.
Yeah. And my favorite part about powwow is that we kind of call it homecoming.
Yep.
So you get folks, not everyone could, you know, afford to stay here. Some folks have moved away. It's just a time that says we're gathering at this time. There's going to be food, there's going to be family, there's going to be fun, and there's going to be connections. So I just love that homecoming piece of, you know, touching base, you know, with your some favorite cousins you might not have seen for a while and things like that.
But it's open and welcome to all.
Yes, open and welcome to the public. Highly recommend you
come.
And
the dates of the powwow are,
I don't know,
5th, 6th, 7th.
Yeah, it's always like the first week of July. I'll have to take a look.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna
you know, pick up your Mashpee Chamber magazine. There's some good stuff in there about the tribe this year. I'm very excited. I know David Whedon had contributed an article. Richard DeSorger, who runs our archives, did a really nice article about the one-room schoolhouse. We've got some really great stuff that is coming out, and that magazine should be out the first week of June, but I believe it's July 5, 6, and 7, or 4, 5, and 6, somewhere around there.
Give the update.
Yeah, right. I will definitely drop it in the chat right there. I didn't even know everyone was invited. Yes, Cindy, everyone's invited.
Yes, please come.
Right?
It's a great time. Gates open at 10.
The fire dance.
It really kicks off around like 12:30. So nonprofits, there's tabling and things like that. So, you know, gates do open at 10, but you know, like the opening ceremony starts usually around 12:30. Get there early.
Yeah,
for
4,
a good
5, and
parking
6.
Spot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Awesome.
I checked.
4th, 5th, and 6th.
4, 5, and 6.
And there's also typically the second day, there's usually Fireball, which is a medicine game, a ceremony in which there is actually a ball on fire. It is a sight to see.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Do not. Yeah, disclaimer. So there's just a great way to really connect and get to know about our culture. And I think it's in a really digestible way. You can be as like interactive or just as observatory as you want.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do anything. You can just bring yourself and show up, and you can eat some food. You can watch some dancing. You can catch it, like, catch a tan.
I love
put on a blanket.
I love it.
Or put up a pop-up.
Yeah, it better be nice weather this year.
Rays.
Yeah, right.
So it's oftentimes muggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. What I'm not looking forward to is watching the Celtics, apparently, because they blew it last night.
Up by
Give the sports update, Hank. Now sports.
They were up by 20, and they lost in overtime.
Rough.
How's
your Red Sox doing?
I had so much hope. I really did. I think we're still at the point in the season where you can say, I think they're going to be okay. I think.
I don't watch regular TV anymore. I don't listen to regular radio anymore. I'm like my own little land. I know, right? I've created my own like little space. Yes. I'm in my own world, and it's just me in it. I'm not hating on it right now.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I've definitely steeped into the local flavor. And I'm not leaving Mashpee doing much.
You probably keep your sanity a bit more if you just kind of keep it local as opposed to.
Yep.
We're putting a tariff on what?
I think that this is where we're at right now. Sorry, I've rolled over your skull. I think that we're kind of reflecting inward. And I was excited to have Tracy on here today to talk about what's going on in our town, to talk about the things that we do have control over, which is things that are happening in our immediate space and the change that we can create right here. Tracy, before we go, anything you want to say?
Just thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for listening. And elections are on May 10th at your voting precinct.
I know. 4 days.
Yeah, and vote for me, Tracy Kelly, for the 2-year term on Mashpee Select Board.
Hank, anything you got to say? What's happening in lunch break coming up?
We're going to play. Where did they get that name from?
Okay.
Well, bands sometimes, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, okay. The Jeff Healey Band, okay. Of Mountains and Men,
Okay.
Toad the Wet Sprocket. Where exactly did that come from? Do you know?
I'm looking forward to this show today.
Yes, I think it's going to be a new thing I'm going to do every now and then. Just these crazy names that you just kind of accept.
I love it. And your jazz and blues shows on the weekend have a tremendous following. If you've
Thank
not
you.
had a chance to check into lemonadio.com, download the app, Roku TV, Alexa, play Lemonadio Radio. All you got to do is enable your skill. Take us with you wherever you go. Definitely check out some of the great specialty shows that we've got coming up for you. And, create your own little space. Make sure we're in it, though, okay?
Absolutely. Yep.
It's been a fun day, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Tonight, I'm over at Shipwrecked. If you're ever looking for something to do, we've got trivia, we've got music bingo, and we really do try and connect with the community. We've got it's school dance season. We've got Nauset, we've got Truro, we've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up. It's also beginning of the wedding season, so those are starting to roll in right now. So we're very busy, but that's how you can connect with us, lemonadio.com, and follow us wherever we go. Support your local. We appreciate you being here. Vote. Please, if you're not registered, I'm sorry, it's too late. But if you are, please don't let us just be like, oh, only 100 people showed up.
Right.
Please, let's blow it out of the water. So, wow, this many people showed up and this is what they chose. Please show up on a Saturday. It's not that much to ask. It takes
They're
2
doing
seconds.
it on a Saturday to be convenient for you.
Right? It's about time.
Right. And I mean, that's always been the complaint. On Tuesday, work day, need babysitter for the kids, whatever. Saturday. None of that cuts it.
Yeah, right. So we'll see you on Saturday to vote, and have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye, folks. See you soon.
Look at us droning on for an hour.